Hey guys, so every part of your MBA application is important, but your resume plays kind of a unique role. It's actually the first document the admissions committee looks at when they open your file and start evaluating your application. So in a way, your resume is like your business card, and it's your first impression, and you really want that impression to stick in people's mind. Now, writing a strong resume, it sounds simple, but it's actually harder than it looks. And there are a few key principles that apply specifically to an MBA resume, not just any resume. And you have to get it right if you want to connect with the Adcom. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Hi, my name is Dan, and I'm the founder and principal consultant at ASCENT Admissions Consulting. We're an expert in crafting your story into a winning MBA application. Now, I just told you that your resume is the first thing that the Adcom looks at. It should also be the first thing you work on when you begin your MBA application. And it's because business school is fundamentally about your career trajectory. And once you've clarified the story in your resume, your essays, your interviews, and even your recommendation letters will come together a lot more easily because they all build on that same foundation. Now, you might be tempted to just kind of dust off your old resume from job hunting a few years ago, or if you're from Korea, to my Korean audience, you might be tempted to kind of translate your Korean resume into English and call it a day. But don't do that. An MBA resume is a completely different game. And you need to write it with deliberate strategic intent from the perspective of what MBA programs care about, which is leadership, impact, and growth. So I'm gonna walk you through 3 key principles for building a strong MBA resume. Number 1, trim the fat. So your resume is not a full inventory of every task that you've ever done at every job. But that's one of the very common mistakes that I see when I read my client's resume. And there's just too much information sometimes. So much so that I start reading it and I forget what I'm even looking at halfway through. And that's not a good sign. Yes, I get it. You want to showcase all of your achievements, but what you really want instead is clarity. When someone reads your resume, they have to be able to follow the flow without getting lost in the details and instead begin to form a clear picture of who you are as a professional. So be selective when you write these bullet points. Trim the fat. Use your judgment to cut what's less relevant and try to shine a spotlight on your biggest wins and your overall narrative. Okay? So knowing what to include, what not to include, and what to emphasize is the first and most important skill in resume writing. Number 2, be specific. Okay, so just because I just told you to be selective, it doesn't mean that you should leave your bullet points vague or generic. As a matter of fact, you need to do the exact opposite. Now's the time to zoom in a little bit and get specific. You gotta be crystal clear about what you did and how you did it. So for example, saying worked on a project to improve operations is just way too vague. What kind of project? In what industry? How big was the team? Like, why did it matter? Okay, so you gotta add some context, add scale, and then impact. Use numbers, revenue, percentage, team size, or cost savings, or mention regions or markets. For example, Southeast Asia, US West Coast, US East Coast, etc. And if you can, try to specify stakeholders like C-level clients, government partners, institutional investors, etc. And don't just say you supported or contributed to something and stop there. You gotta tell us what you actually did, like what changed because of you. And here are some examples. Reduce operating costs by 18% across 15 electronics manufacturing facilities in Hanoi, Vietnam, and renegotiating supplier contract, resulting in annual savings of $1.2 million. Or, led a team of 5 analysts to develop and launch an interactive Power BI dashboard for Japanese retail banking branches, enabling real-time tracking of product conversion rates. And that kind of detail gives us a clear picture, and it makes your resume a lot more concrete. Number 3, zoom out and define yourself. So let's come back to the idea of your resume being your business card that I talked about, okay? A good resume isn't just a jumble of ideas and task list. It's a cohesive, big picture snapshot of who you are as a professional. So you gotta ask yourself, if someone reads my resume top to bottom, would they be able to summarize who I am and what I bring to the table? This means that even your resume needs a narrative. And one way to create that is by showing your career progression. So did you start as an analyst and become a team lead? Or did you grow from simply executing tasks to owning a project, for example? And that kind of progression matters. It shows growth, leadership, and readiness. And here's a caveat. If you're writing a job resume, it might look a little bit different. It would probably lean more into technical skills, job titles, and keywords from a job description. But an MBA resume, it's all about your story, your impact, and your potential as a future leader. So take the time to get it right. It's worth it. Subscribe for more real MBA tips that actually help.